Good morning, everyone. I am going to call to order the joint meeting of Minnehaha County City Commission and the City of Dell Rapids, and look for from the commission a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Dell Rapids.
I'll call the Dell Rapids City Council to order and ask our finance officer to please call the roll. Excuse me, our city administrator. Okay, well, we have 5 members here. We have a quorum.
All righty. Do you want to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda. So moved by Gary. Is a second by Bill. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
So on our agenda is the second reading and public hearing to consider amendments to the 2001 revised joint zoning ordinance for Minnehaha County and the City of Dell Rapids. So this covers the joint jurisdictional for zoning between the City of Dells and Minnehaha County. Welcome.
Thank you. Scott Anderson, Planning Director, and this seems to be a long journey that is now we're going to be finishing up today. There's been a lot of work on medical cannabis, and just to give everyone at home sort of a little bit of a background, we may all recall that last November there was a general election on the use of medical cannabis, medical marijuana, which was approved by the citizens. That has now prompted some required examination of our zoning ordinance to determine where as a county and as a joint jurisdiction where we would like to place these, and the regulations upon which we will regulate the land use. So I want to stress to everyone at home, this is the land use. Subsequently, the county will be looking at the licensing, which will deal with the number of licenses, the cost of the licenses, the permitting process. So with that being clear, I will go over a general overview of what has occurred and how we will be regulating medical cannabis. So there was a task force which met several times in July, and out of that task force were some recommendations on how we all would like to proceed with this. And through that task force, there was a discussion on allowing the use of medical cannabis as a permitted special use in the C commercial and I-1 light industrial zoning districts. Along with that, we created a definition of what a medical cannabis dispensary was, which is shown on the screen above in front of you. And then finally, as part of that ordinance change or the review of our zoning ordinance, we looked at some criteria upon which the dispensary would be regulated. And I have a short overview of that as well. So we indicated that we would allow them as a permitted special use in those 2 districts, the C commercial and light industrial. And then there were basically 11 adopted criteria which would apply to those dispensaries. If they could not meet those dispensaries, and for people at home that may not know what a permitted special use is, it means if you meet the criteria, it would be allowed in those 2 zoning districts. If you do not meet the criteria set forth in the zoning ordinance, you still have an option to bring forth a conditional use permit, which could be considered by the Planning Commission and subsequently the County Commission. So let me go through what those adopted criteria would be, or the suggested adopted criteria that has been reviewed by the task force and the Planning Commission. So they need to be, the dispensary would need to be registered with the State Department of Health, and they would need to meet all of the requirements and licensing requirements and regulations of the South Dakota Department of Health. They would need to meet a setback requirement of 1,000 feet from a single-family dwelling unit, a house, a church, a school, daycare, a public use facility, park, or between any other medical cannabis dispensaries or establishments. It outlines the location requirements. You're not allowed to have any drive-through sales or a drive-up window. You're not allowed to have exterior sales where you're selling it like on a street front or, a tent sale. The criteria sets forth hours of operation for the dispensary, and that would be from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., or not to exceed that. You could have fewer hours if you wanted, but that's the maximum hours that would be allowed. There's a provision that potential nuisances would be controlled, like smells, vapors, odors. We would regulate the age of the customer permitted within the business. We would prohibit the use of medical cannabis on the site of the sale, so you could not buy it and immediately use it there. It requires a disposal plan to be submitted and reviewed, explaining how they are going to dispose of old supplies, damaged supplies, or supplies they don't want to use anymore. It requires a security and a fire protection plan, and it requires a site plan and a floor plan showing us, how they will be using the building. So with that, those are the criteria that are met, and this was the description, the definition. As I indicated, this is proposed to be a special permitted use within those two zoning districts. So with that, I will just indicate this has gone before the Joint Planning Commissions back in August. It was recommended for approval. I would be glad to answer any questions you have, and I'll stand ready for any questions.
From the Del Rapids City Council or the Minnehaha County Commission, any questions of Scott? Pretty understandable, then.
Thank you.
You bet. And if you missed it, we'll be doing it again at 5 o'clock this afternoon in front of the Sioux Falls
We'll be
City
doing it
Council.
at 9 o'clock again, so.
Yeah, and 9 o'clock again, yeah, so, okay. So I'm going to look for approval from the Minnehaha County Commission of the revised zoning ordinance.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call vote from the commission.
Barth,
Aye.
Bender,
Aye.
Benega,
Aye.
Heiberger,
Aye.
Karski.
Aye. Motion carries on the county commission.
Entertain a motion to approve the revision to our joint zoning regulations. Moved by Chad, is there a second? Seconded by Barry, please call the roll.
Ronstagen. Yes. Bird. Yes. Jarrett. Yes. Schmidt. Yes. Hawk. Yes.
It's passed.
Okay, motion carries from the city council. This is a public meeting, so I have the opportunity for public comment for this meeting. Anybody here would like to address the joint body? Seeing nobody rushing to the podium, I'm going to look for a motion to adjourn our joint meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Motion to adjourn. Bill makes that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you. Appreciate
being here.
the coordination and work with the county.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
May I get a list of